to make a link to another to say the HIRC is pursuing these goals. Basic goal, improve the effectiveness with which individuals and organizations work at intellectual tasks. What does their effectiveness involve then? Better solutions, faster solutions, solutions to more complex problems, with better use of human capabilities. Really thinking about that. But a corollary goal is, besides improving the effectiveness, to develop a system-oriented discipline for designing the means by which greater effectiveness is achieved. That's very important to us. The approach for this should result in a system-oriented discipline.
Hello everybody, my name is Larry Johnson. I'm the CEO of the New Media Consortium, and we're a sorbet, if you like, a change of focus from collective intelligence, where we spent the morning. I think it's been really fascinating, and Hiroshi's work inspired us. And where we want to take it back for the next 15 minutes or so is to a real life story about how Doug Engelbart's work inspired our organization. The New Media Consortium is a group of about 300 colleges and universities, and our mission is to help those institutions embrace, understand, and implement emerging technologies. And if you look at our history over the last 15 years, it pretty much parallels the little buoys that were on Eileen's wonderful chart that's all around us. And so that's who we are. When I took over the NMC in 2001, I and my board were wanting to take a new direction. At that time, there really had been a change in the way that technology companies were working with colleges and universities, the way that colleges and universities were thinking about technology. And it was the pioneer model back then, and that was waning. And we knew that we needed a new way to keep colleges and universities excited and engaged in emerging technology, and we were looking for new ideas. I had the opportunity to attend a very unique meeting with James Burke, who was working on the Connections project. You might remember it from the Discovery Channel. And he was playing with an idea called Knowledge Web, and I was invited to a meeting, and that's where I got to meet Doug Engelbart. We were talking about the ideas of collective intelligence, of dynamic knowledge, of the idea of knowledge webs. And during that meeting, Doug got to talk about his ideas about human systems and organizational theory. And I was just engaged from the very first moment. It was perfect. What I realized was that the NMC was itself a networked improvement community.
And talk to you about the control techniques, control devices, control dialogue, and control meta-language that we're using. Well, you can see the devices that I'm using. I use 3, and they're not all standard. We have a pointing device called a mouse, a standard keyboard, and a special key set we have here.
And all that was lacking was that we needed to somehow put that at the center of what we did. And that's what we tried to do. And today, I would say that we've accomplished that now about 8 years later. And collective intelligence is really like breathing for us. We do it just as easily as we walk. We think about it all the time. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning, and how we got there in a few of the examples. Now, the pictures that you're seeing are pictures of our community, and they roughly parallel our history. And so we're in about 2002 right now as those pictures go by, and we'll just let them go. But the story I'm telling is their story, because the NMC's community, which I mentioned is about 300 colleges and universities, is really thousands of people. Just one of our projects, which is a project in virtual worlds, has about 10,000 people involved in it. And another project that we have, the Horizon Project, involves hundreds of institutions, probably, it's hard to say really, probably a couple thousand actually worldwide, and tens of thousands of people are involved in that. And so it's a very large community, it's global. And the thing that I want to kick off kind of the round robin, I'm with my colleagues Rachel Smith, who's the Vice President of Services at NMC, and Alan Levine, the Vice President of Community, and our Chief Technical Officer. And I'll pause on his title because I think that's significant, that first we even have a Vice President of Community, and then we chose to place that as a CEO position as well. It's kind of a unique spot. But every single thing that we do, every activity, every publication, every event that we run, every single thing we do involves tapping the collective intelligence of our community, which we actually refer to as the consensus sapientum, the collective wisdom, because we're really more interested in the refined intelligence of that community. And it specifically relates to how emerging technologies can be applied to teaching, learning, research, the missions of the university. And so I'm going to pass it to you, Rachel.
Okay. What Larry said is absolutely true. Everything that we do involves our membership. Absolutely nothing is top-down. We don't invent anything that we hand to the members. What we do is work with them to find out what will help them do their work better. And we get them together, and they tell us what they want to say. And we basically, our members are really, there are a number of them here in the room that we recognize and have said hi to. And our members are just brilliant, and what we do is reflect that brilliance back. And we enable any of our members to share what they're doing and what they know with the rest of the membership. That's essentially our goal.
Thank you very much. I wanted to put this little piece in. Doug, I'm sorry I missed the demo in 1968. I was 5. I think I was watching the Flintstones. But it goes back to Hiroshi's. We were all enthralled when we saw those excitement in those little kids. And a core value at NMC is we really promote the simple concept of sharing what we do. So everything we do, we give away. We don't put copyright. We release all of our reports, papers under Creative Commons. We want people to reuse our stuff, and we encourage that as part of our community values. So people participate and share in extraordinary values. And NMC runs with 10 people. I joined in 2 years ago, and I was a member of NMC, and I imagine this tall 10-story building in Texas, where they were based, where there are thousands of people working there, and then I signed on, and it's like, there's 6 other people doing all this incredible work. So we're a small group, but we're able to work with a lot of people effectively, and they do most of the creative work. We just kind of create the vehicles for that to happen.
Yeah, one of the things. The way that we're able to do that is by focusing on some key lessons that we've learned about how to implement a network improvement community. And that's the points that we're going to try and leave you with today. And the first is that it doesn't happen by accident. I mean, you really have to plan to make this happen, but it needs to be a very, very light touch. And the way that we've chosen to approach it is an idea that Jim Sporer actually came up with when we were originally talking about this, and that was to be the pulse of the community. That what we wanted to do was to use the staff to do the things that freed people to contribute their ideas, and to create an atmosphere of safety and trust where those ideas could be freely exchanged back and forth.
All of the projects that we do that involve the members have, as Larry said, a pulse. We usually have a kickoff meeting if it's a new project, but not always, and that's usually a face-to-face meeting. And that's very carefully planned so that everyone feels that they can contribute, and we listen and capture the ideas that they're coming up with. And then after the meeting, we reach out to them on a regular basis, and we share what we captured. We ask for more feedback. We follow up with the next steps. But as Larry said, we take care of the kind of the back end stuff that has to happen so that people can actually get down to the thinking and the working. So we're sort of the behind the scenes, I guess. I mean, we're out there talking to people, but what we do is the behind the scenes stuff so that the members can actually do the work.
Absolutely, and the Horizon project that Larry mentioned is our research on emerging technologies, and generally it's a report that's released. There's about 100,000 downloads of it per year, so it's pretty widely distributed. And the amazing thing when I started with that, and the way I like it works, I hate meetings. So this is a project that happens with 0 meetings. We don't even meet online. We do all of our work asynchronously in an open wiki. So this work is done in the open, so anybody can follow it and actually contribute in this process. And we start off, we generate somewhere between 100 and 150 ideas that get distilled down to 6 by January for this report that's written to project when technologies are going to be important in education. So it's an amazing process to be part of, and we like to find different levels at which people can participate. So There are 40 people on our advisory board, but other people can participate by tagging resources that they want to direct to us. We solicit members to contribute the examples that'll be in the report. And then when we release the report, we open it up to people to sort of take it out there and do their own work with it and feed it back to us. So it spreads from a very small core of people doing the large activity and using some of this technology to spread it out.
You know, and that brings us to the idea of technology and how that plays into that, because one of those essential ideas was that the technological systems and the human systems needed to evolve together. And what we found is that while you want to embrace technology and use it in all kinds of ways, you don't actually need to have a particular piece of technology. And we use everything that's out there. What our philosophy is about this is that we want to have a doorway for anyone to go through. Our goal is for everyone to be able to feel like they can participate in the process. And so if that means that you're comfortable going onto a wiki and doing it, it's fine. If that means that we're going to capture your thoughts on a chart like this in a room that's visually facilitated, if it means that you're going to be contributing a comment to a blog or a blog post, or however it is. And the technology has evolved. So we've changed platforms as we've gone. And expanded. And so some of the slides you're seeing are showing some of the work that we're doing in Second Life. And, you know, we just added that on kind of naturally because that added another doorway for folks as it came into it and really made it possible for people to do things. Now, as they make their contributions, though, the thing that I think is probably the most important outcome of a network improvement community is that they know that their ideas are going to be part of the mix. They're not just tossing them out there and they're not going to be considered, but that every idea actually really is considered to the point where people understand if their idea is not the one that goes forward with the consensus sapient, but they know that their idea has been part of the mix and it's been evaluated and thought of in that way. And the ways that we are able to do that, for example, I'll use the Horizon report as an example, where we have 40 people that contribute, you know, the ideas of what technology we're going to look at. But then we open the door to everyone in the community to submit examples of work that they're doing that might be listed actually in the report. And people look forward to that. In fact, we're publishing one in January. I tell you, back as early as June, they were contacting us to ask us, you know, when they could start sending their links in.
Which is now, in case anyone's listening who wants to know. Sorry, my train of thought just went out the window.
Horizon report.
Thank you. So, in addition to listening and capturing what people say, we also synthesize it and give it back to them. So that part of the work or that part of the process is something that we as the staff can offer, but that it reaches out to the membership and lets them all benefit from what each other are doing.
And polish.
And we polish, and so we take ideas and polish them up a little bit, and then they're shinier and give them back.
Good. I'm checking over on the sidelines. Are we getting a 3-minute signal? Are we okay on time?
3 minutes. This is 1 minute. Okay, we're perfect. All right.
Okay. Go ahead, Larry. I'm not sure.
Well, then, as we get ready to close, then the points that we've tried to make are, number one, that if you're going to try and build a network community, it really needs to be at the center of your philosophy about things. And it doesn't happen by accident. You have to have people that actually pay attention to it and contribute the parts that people typically won't do, the parts where things typically fall apart. What we found is that, you know, that's like actually writing a report. People love to contribute to a report. People love to contribute links to include in it. They would like to have their project featured. But when it comes down to actually writing the thing, that's kind of a staff job. And, you know, we certainly get a lot of input on that, but that kind of thing happens inside the staff. We think that an atmosphere of trust is really, really critical. And a way for people to get into projects through all kinds of doorways and such as that. The last point that I want to make is really that what we try and do is to keep a focus on the essentials of our projects, but allow them to continuously evolve and improve as they go. So that, for example, in the Horizon project, we began looking at it just through a university lens, and we did that for a number of years. But most recently, we've expanded that to a regional report for Australia, to a report from the museum sector, the K-12 sector, and the processes have evolved as well. The technologies have improved. We have new tools and such as that. It all goes back to the very beginning. And when we first met Doug, I got to go out to dinner with him. Actually, I contacted Doug to see if we could talk, and the answer that I got back was that he'll let you take him to dinner, and then you can talk over dinner. If it goes anywhere, then you can meet the next day. And we did, and we worked a lot with it. And
well, thanks. I'm sorry that we're pushed when we're trying to describe each of the features in this system. This particular one, the keyword, is very powerful and could very well warrant a whole session or a whole paper on itself, because it gives us the power of keyword descriptor kind of organization, but with the added feature of giving weight to the keyword, so the results of the search, as you see right here, are ordered, so that this one ended up meeting the most requirements and adding the most weight, and down here could be one that only associated with one of the descriptors and the lowest weight one at that. So you have an ordered list that's probably relevant. And then right with this are all the links. Use that as a link to go off to the file to find it. This is a directory of a set of procedures. So here's here's a list of procedures for those keywords he chose that all describe certain things about file handling. And this will take you off the actual source code. Looks like Don Andrews wrote them all in his files, the name of the place in his files, and the views that you should open up, so that when you follow this on a jump to link, you just see bingo, the overall view of that procedure. And then, as he pointed out, instead of saying jump to link, you can jump to a name within this file where these things have descriptive material about that too. So I think for the software guide, it's very powerful. And thanks very much, Bill.
Very good, Doug.
so as we close, I want to announce a special honor that we're making for Doug, which is to honor Doug with the NMC College Award. It's a Lifetime Achievement Award.